Well, hello. Today I decided to make a video, or more like a guide, in order to show you how you can safely use Windows XP in 2026. Now, why would you do that? Well, there are many possible reasons. Maybe you have legacy software running on an older PC, or maybe you simply like using XP, which I don't really blame you since Microslop literally destroyed Windows. But regardless of the reasons, yes, you can still use XP just fine, and no, it won't turn into a bootnet, but I will discuss that a bit later. In order to make this guide as easy to follow as possible, I will split it into three main sections. First, the basic setup, browsers, patching, and so on. Second section will be about security and privacy, including antivirus, firewall, and networking. And third, running modern software. As you can see, we are running a fresh install of Windows XP 64-bit edition, and while I do use XP on real hardware on one of my PCs, I wanted to show you a fresh install, so we are going to use VirtualBox. Now, for the basic setup, we are on the desktop at the moment, and one of the main things that you are going to need is obviously an internet browser. I do recommend Supermium. It's basically the latest version of Chrome ported for Windows XP, but without most of the Google spyware. You do have few other options such as RedFox, which is a Firefox fork, and MyPal, which is not really good. I mean, you don't have extensions, which you are going to need, as you're about to see in a moment. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to stick with Supermium, as I consider the best option. Now we have the browser installed, and as you can see, we have a modern version of Chrome running on XP without any additional setup. Let's go to Google and check if everything is working alright. Go away Google, I don't consent to anything. But yeah, this browser is more than usable, and is going to render all the modern websites, including YouTube, just as normal as Chrome would on Windows 10, for example. Now, you will want to have one particular extension, which is an ad blocker. I recommend uBlock Origins, which works perfect on this browser since it still supports Manifest v2 that was killed by Google 2 years ago. Now you would want an ad block for two main reasons. One, because today internet is literally unusable without an ad block. And second, because anyways, most of the ads that are pushed by Google are scams. Therefore, an ad blocker is necessary, not just on XP, but any OS really. So we just add this extension to our browser and we should be fine. You can even pin it to the toolbar to make sure it's active, and you're good to go. Now, once we figure out the browser, we are going to need a tool called Legacy Update to patch our system with the latest updates, which includes the POS ready embedded systems up to 2020. We simply search on Google Legacy Update, and we are going to find what we need on the first result. But first, make sure is this link, legacyupdate.net. This tool is incredibly useful for enabling updates on legacy Windows versions, and you should never really skip this step after installing XP. Now on the main page, we simply press on Install Legacy Update, and it's going to download an executable. Let's put it on the desktop, and we can close our browser. Now we simply run the program. It's going to ask for admin permission to run. We press OK, and we allow it to install. It's going to update the root certificates and install Internet Explorer, which you need for the updates page. Then it's going to open Internet Explorer and check for updates, and once it's done, you will want to install each and every update available. This process might take a while, and it will involve multiple restarts. Remember, after each restart, you will have to repeat the process until you finish installing all possible updates, including the optional security updates for Net Framework. Now the ISO file I used for this install is already patched, so for you there might be more updates. Make sure to install each and every one of them, and well, this is going to take a while realistically, so let's just skip the installation. So at the end, that's what you want to see on this page. 0 updates available. Once you did this, we can move forward to the next section, which is privacy and security. Now, I'm sure many of you saw those videos on YouTube with Windows XP being connected to the internet and getting hacked in 5 seconds. Well, that's not really true, and it won't happen to you. You see, those videos quite conveniently forgot to mention what they did to that XP machine in order to get hacked so fast. They're basically exposing Windows XP to the internet by assigning it a public IP address, by connecting it directly to the modem, opening ports, disabling every kind of firewall, and using a very outdated and unpatched version of XP. Actually, I have to admit, it's quite a difficult and time-consuming process that you have to basically follow in order to get hacked on XP. For example, if you reproduce this environment on Windows 10 or 11, it will happen exactly the same as in the videos. It will be turned into a bootnet. In reality, however, believe it or not, you're more safe today on XP than you are on 10 or 11, due to the fact that this operating system is quite old and very few people are still using it, therefore really is not a target for malware anymore. The only thing you should be careful of is basically archaic malware that is still online, and I will explain you now how all this thing works, so just a short networking lesson. So there are indeed some old bootnet worms which are scanning the internet for vulnerable PCs out there. However, by simply connecting to the internet through a router, which I think is the case for you, and having your firewall on, it will basically filter out all unsolicited inbound traffic. Your router has something called NAT, or Network Address Translation, which is hiding your IP, and basically your PC is invisible for the outside internet. So basically, by simply connecting to the internet through a router, which is most likely already issued by your ISP, and of course combining this with the concept of security through obscurity, well, nothing will happen to your XP machine really. I mean, yeah, to an extent I understand the people that freak out the second the Windows version becomes unsupported and stops receiving security updates, well, the so-called security updates, which today, let's be real, is simply another term for Microsoft AI garbage and more spyware. It is indeed a real concern, but I don't think those people really paid attention on how all this RC and bootnetting actually works. So I will reiterate, if you connect through the internet, through a router, your PC won't be turned into a bootnet or any bullshit like that. So all this thing of, oh my god, the Windows is out of support now, I'm going to get hacked by North Koreans or the Chinese, oh no, I need to upgrade to Windows 11, otherwise the commies will get their hands on my private data, is really nothing more than the result of Microsoft efforts of scaring people into upgrading to their latest spyware shit. But I digress. Now with all the getting hacked thing out of the way, let's talk a little about the antivirus. Now, how an antivirus works? Well, long story short, it's a program that scans for the signatures of known malware. Now, some people out there might argue that you don't really need an antivirus as long as you're careful enough not to run as admin dubious software. And they're technically right. However, I think it's a good idea to have an extra security layer, especially for the peace of your mind, that in case you do execute by mistake malicious code, there will be some kind of antivirus protection against it. Now, for XP, you do have a few options out there in terms of antivirus. One of them is Pandadom, which is a modern antivirus that works on XP and it uses cloud detection for malware. Another option would be Kaspersky Free 2018, which still gets signature updates, or older versions of AVG or Avast. It doesn't really matter if the antivirus version is old, once again, as long as it receives updates with the latest signatures, it will do the job just fine. Now I will spare you the time, I have both here. Now on my XP PC I'm using Kaspersky 2018, which works just fine, but if you don't like Kaspersky or you're scared of the Russians or whatever, then you can use Pandadom. However, I have to mention that some people did encounter the issues while installing PandaDOM, so you should be aware of that. Anyways, in my case, for the sake of simplicity, I will just stick with Kaspersky for this video. And it's installing just fine. We can skip that. And now we are going to update the signatures. Here, update required. We just press that and it's going to update the signatures, and it's going to take a while since this installer was quite outdated, but we can wait. So now we have an antivirus working, all good. Now you have a usable Windows XP system. However, if you want to get more out of your XP computer, for the final section I'm going to show you something a bit more advanced. Well, not really, but still. We are going to run modern software, and we will do a few modifications using a patch called OneCore API. Please keep in mind that this patch is still experimental, and it has a lot of bugs and stability issues, and although they are actively trying, you know, to fix all bugs, I do not yet recommend it to use it as your daily driver. Also, in some cases, the installer might mess up with your system, so I recommend creating at least a restore point in System Restore before you decide installing that, you know, just in case. But before that, let's quickly update the DirectX to DirectX 10 in case you want to run some modernish games, let's say. Now, as you already know, Windows XP only supports DirectX 9, and we can import the DirectX DLL files to XP up to DirectX 11. Now I'm going to upgrade it to DirectX 10 since I doubt you'll play any DirectX 11 games on XP. But if you want DirectX 11, I will leave a link to the GitHub page in the description anyways. To do that, we just open a browser and search for DirectX 10 for Windows XP. And we will download the package from Softpedia. This package contains the DirectX 10 DLL files imported from Windows Vista. Remember, only download this from Softpedia, since I'm not really sure if the other sources are genuine. After downloading the package, we just extract it on the desktop and install it. It shouldn't really take too long, maybe a few seconds. Then we can check the DirectX diagnostic tool. And as you can see, we now have DirectX 10 on Windows XP. Now we can move forward with OneCore API. We simply type on Google OneCore API and we download it from the GitHub page. Now this tool will allow us to run modern software on XP. It's a compatibility layer, but nothing like Proton or Wine, and it's based on the Windows Research kernel. We simply have to download the latest version from the release page. At the moment of making this video, the latest version is 4.04, and as you can see, they fixed quite a few bugs. But anyways, we just download that and then we're going to install it. So we have the zip file on the desktop. We'll have to extract that. Please remember that at the moment there are some compatibility issues with antivirus software, so maybe it's going to crash your antivirus and you'll have to reinstall it after installing OneCore API. So just be aware of that. After extracting, we just run the executable and it's going to extract all the files and then it's going to install it. It's not too hard really, it's just a classic installation wizard. So it's fine, we just need to press next, we agree with the terms, then press next again, and we wait for it to install, and then we have to restart the system. Okay, so now we're back on the desktop after the system restarted, and you won't really see any difference on the surface. The only problem is that if you want to run Chromium again, it's going to crash. I mean, not really crashing, as you can see, it's still running in Task Manager. Let me close that. This is a known issue, and to fix that we have to run it in compatibility mode. Just right click properties, and we run it as Windows XP Service Pack 3. As you can see, we have a few options from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So we just select Windows XP Service Pack 3. We click apply, OK, and now it's going to launch without any issue. Now we have the browser. We can skip that, of course. And now we have the browser, and let's just try to find some modern software. Let's go on Google and search for Steam. I think this is a good example. Back in 2015, when Steam finally dropped support for Windows XP, I was quite surprised, since many games that run natively on XP are available on Steam. So obviously I was really disappointed that Steam didn't offer like a legacy version for retro gaming on older systems, but I guess it is what it is. We just download the Steam. And now we should search for something else, maybe, I don't know, Firefox. I'm going to search that. Now there's one thing with the Firefox online installer. Sometimes it refuses to work with one core API installed, so if that happens, you will have to simply download the offline version of the installer. But let's hope this won't be the case. Now we have both test installers on the desktop, and let's first try to install Steam, and as you can see, it's going to install normally. It will give us an error saying that it's not compatible with Windows XP, but that's fine, we're going to solve that in a moment. So we just go to Properties, Compatibility tab, and let's try Windows 7. Let's see if it's going to work on Windows 7. And looks like it's updating. We just wait for the update to finish, and as you can see, we have Steam, actual modern Steam on Windows XP. Now for the purpose of providing an example, I'm going to scan the QR code with my phone and try to log into Steam and see what happens. So it seems that it works just fine. Of course, now I'm not going to show you my library or whatever, but it works. So I guess you can just install games that are compatible with Windows XP and just play them. This is a good option if you have a legacy PC, for example, and you want to play all games. Now let's move on to Firefox. Let's try Windows 10 22H2. And see what happens. Since this is an online installer, I'm guessing it's going to throw us an error. And it sure did, so I'm going to grab the latest version of Firefox, but an offline installer this time, and try again. So now I have the offline installer for the latest version of Firefox, and I'm going to use Windows 10 22H2 again for compatibility. As you can see, it's going to extract all the files and is going to install without any issue. We just follow the setup. Now Firefox just installed, and as you can see, we have modern Firefox running on Windows XP. Also, I forgot to mention two important things. First, you should get an ad blocker. Again, you can download the same extension that we used for Chromium. And second, well, as you can see right here, our title bar is kind of buggy. It doesn't render correctly. So in order to fix that, you have to go into the options and enable title bar. So yeah, now you have modern Firefox running on Windows XP. You can try different modern software and see what works for you. Most of the programs should work, I guess, but again, this build is experimental and maybe some programs won't work, at least not as expected. But anyways, this concludes our video on how to safely use Windows XP in 2026. If anyone finds this video useful, then I will make maybe a similar one with Windows Vista with extended kernel. But yeah, thank you very much for watching and have fun.